Okay, wow, look at me. I could have looked at the mirror before I did this, but such is life. I wanted to really get these polls out for you this week because I know this full moon is a wild time. Um, and it's just one of those pockets of energy. So this is your Coffee and Magic members private polls for the week of August 19th, full moon. And we're going to start off with Christine. What does this mean? And I apologize for not sending out an email ahead of time. I needed to seize the moment because my energy is fading as we speak. So, again, first up is Christine. Hi, Caress. How are you? So, I feel like I just got a message from Janelle that she is also exhausted with this full moon, and I can't tell particularly right this moment because I just got back from my insane road trip to Connecticut, so it's crazy times. Hi, Amanda. All right, Christine, this is your reading for the week. You have Birth and Rebirth, Lady of the Lake, and you have the Wasp. Okay, so basically this week, Christine, is like one of those interesting weeks for you where it's like things are finally starting to move and like you're starting to feel some confidence and maybe even hear some good news, get some sort of opportunity, like I don't know, something like good, right? That makes you feel like, oh, this is amazing. And I think there's still some people in your circle who haven't reached that point in their own journey where they can like truly and honestly be happy for you. And so if you're feeling that energetic pushback from those people this week, just remember it actually is a really good indicator that you are coming into some really amazing energy here. Um, so really focus on your boundaries this week. Really focus on how this feels for you, what's opening up for you, and not as much on this. Okay? All good. All right. Moving on to our next, it's Caress. Hi, Janelle. Janelle Caress says she's been tired too. All right, Caress, you ready? You have the Wind Fairy, Restriction, and the Hawk. Okay, so this week is one of those interesting ones where like your brain is starting to take over, right? And overwhelm you and kind of be like, oh, there's so many things that could go wrong or like don't feel like they're working out or like I can't plan. And like it's just like making your brain overload and making you feel very stuck, right? Like almost like paralyzed, just like, okay, there's nowhere for me to go from here because my brain can't think myself out of it. Very normal. It's very normal. Like it's kind of one of those things where it's like there's nothing really wrong here. It's just this is what's happening. Your brain is spinning, spinning, spinning. The answer here for you is hawk energy, which is really again trust the process and ask for signs. If you need confirmation that like it's going to be okay, just ask and you will receive it every single time. Your brain will get in the way and make you feel blocked this week, but you also always have that option of saying, I just need a sign that like everything's going to be okay. You will get that sign. And then you can kind of like, shh, you know? Next up is Bobby. Bobby. Oh, okay. Bobby. Partnership, death, and hawk. I feel like every week you have like a really intense energetic week, and this doesn't feel like it's going to disappoint. So death, partnership, and hawk. Much like caress, look for if you want confirmation, if you need affirmation, ask for it, and you will get that sign. This combination, hi Suzette. This combination of death and a partnership, quite frankly, like I haven't spoken to you in a long time, so I don't know what's going on in your life personally, but it does feel like a relationship is ending here. And I don't know if it's like ending or like the way that it is ending. You know what I mean? Like the way that the dynamic that has been this whole time. But with the death card, it's kind of intense. So I wouldn't be surprised if like an actual relationship is ending right now and you're kind of like, oof, like what do I do? Ask for help from your team and receive those signs. Like you will receive them. All right. Next up is Valerie. Depending on how I feel after I get off from here, I might come back on and do actual regular coffee magic because it does feel weird not to have done it. And maybe it'll help me ground back into the energy. We also have everybody's out. You see Jimmy there? Jimmy's trying to come out. Odin's trying to come out. So I might hop on here after. Let them come out for a minute. All right, Valerie. Okay, what is going on here? This is so crazy. Okay, Valerie. Also hawk. Also death. Also restriction. Okay, so Valerie, for you, something is also ending and energy is ending big time. And I feel like there's a lot of energy for you this week that feels very much like not only dead but stuck. Like I don't know what to do, right? Like it's like a standstill type of energy because you're trapped by your perception of it and because something did end, right? So that's okay. Like honestly, you do have to allow yourself to have a moment with that, with this energy, right? But like everybody else, do you need a sign? Do you need confirmation that things are shifting? Like, what do you need? Ask for it and let it come to you. It will absolutely come to you. But this may need a moment this week to kind of like settle in for you. And like, if there's a mourning, start mourning or grieving it, like you might have a moment like that with this. But keep in mind that it could be also the end of you constantly finding ways to block yourself by the way that you used to think of things and the way that you used to do things. Maybe that is what's ending right now. And that's why it feels so strange. Could be. But everybody needs to be asking for confirmation and signs this week, apparently. All right. Next up is Tiffany. I am shuffling these. Sometimes the vibes be vibing, right? Okay, we have a few different um, cards this time for Tiffany. So I am shuffling indeed. We have trust, the swan, and the raven. What a precious duo. Look at them too. All right, Tiffany. So you have trust, the raven, and the swan, and like your message is very like, hey, trust in your own magic, trust in your own growth, trust in your own capability. This is very much going to be a week of like lean in, hang on, and trust your magic to see you through this one. I don't know what like is on deck for you right now, but it feels kind of like a big one. And like maybe a previous iteration of you would have been like, ooh, I don't have the confidence to do this week, but this you has got it. So trust your growth, trust the process, trust your magic, and can't wait to hear about it. All right, next up is Kit. We have Kit, Susan, Allison, Janelle, Julie, and Yvonne. It is this moon is doing the most. Look at Jimmy. Also, it's Monday, and people snakes around here eat on Sundays, but Jimmy isn't supposed to eat actually today, but he would. All right, Kit. Queen, burden, protection. So start with the queen, Kit. Listen, this is you, right? Just firmly seated on this throne of your own understanding, your own energy, just kind of like really rooted into that seat of power that you have recently like rediscovered for yourself. Remember that you're here as you deal with whatever this is this week. This feels a little heavy, and it also feels a little triggering. Like maybe it's trying to trigger some old behaviors out of you this week. Maybe old coping behaviors, maybe like old behaviors as far as like how you allow people to treat you and how you react to being treated unkindly or unfairly, et cetera, et cetera. Keep leaning into this new way of doing things for yourself. And this will then just become something that's happened this week, not something that changes who you are, how you do things, and why. Okay? All right. Susan. All right, Susan, you have forgiveness, the king, and the spider. So there's two interesting energies happening for you this week, Susan, because you're kind of just like Kit was sitting on her throne of seat of power, you as well. But when the king comes in, it's choice time. It's make a decision time. And with forgiveness and the spider, which is like your creative projects and something new on deck, it's really interesting because what is it that you feel was done that was not resolved, not fair to you, and that you really need to figure out how you want to settle this once and for all because it is affecting your creativity, it is affecting your energy, and it is sorry, my kids are screaming. It is affecting your creativity. It is affecting, it's kind of like this string. I'm so sorry. Hold on 1 second. right. I'm so sorry. Thankfully, I can edit that out of the recording. All right. So, Susan, forgiveness, the king, and the spider. And it's really about making a decision to finally let go of that energy because it's taking energy away from your creativity this week. It's taking energy away from what you actually want to spend time on. And it's kind of like, it's like in the background all the time. So to finally make that decision to let it go. All right. Next up is Allison. So Allison, Janelle, Julie, and Yvonne. I swear. Time for my kids to go back to school. But I also think everybody is very dysregulated. Okay, Allison, you have the queen, burden, and communication. So we have a lot of sitting on thrones as a vibe this week. A lot of hawk, a lot of sitting on thrones. This is, again, you sitting in the seat of your feminine power this week. Being able to communicate your way through the heaviness of something that's happening. And I will remind you that this retrograde is like a heavy energy for a lot of people. And if you are expressing how you feel to someone or trying to be helpful in like a criticism or anything like that, just remember that it's probably going to be taken in a way that you did not intend. So be prepared to ask follow up questions like, did you understand what I mean by that? What was your impression of what I just asked you? Like, can we go over that again? It's not going to hurt you to go over it a million times this week because it is very easy to be taken the wrong way this week and just to have communication breakdown. But make sure when you are communicating that you are tapping into the seat of your feminine power, not the decision making, get things done masculine energy, but more let me understand why. What's your point of view? Let me understand a more full body picture of the situation as opposed to being like nitty gritty with the details, because that's not going to matter as much this week. Okay. All right. Next up, we have Janelle. All right, Janelle, you have the Merlin, the Wind Fairy, and the Butterfly. So someone else had the Wind Fairy. I think it was probably Christine or Caress. This was earlier on, but the Wind Fairy is like all about the thoughts, the thoughts, the thinking. And it feels like a very, I don't want to say heavy because it's not really what's coming through right now. This week feels like it's really going to open up into some big action and realizations for you. And not, I don't want to say action as in like, whoa, you're making a big decision, but kind of just like really moving into your own like power of creation this week. All about the way your brain is working, the way your thoughts are working. Really pay attention to that this week because it feels like a rewiring has happened. And when you kind of tap in now and think about the way that you process information and like make decisions, is it very different than you ever have before? Merlin is all about the masculine energy of magic, and it's all about balance. It's all about like, this ingredient plus this ingredient together. What does it make? It's all about finding that sweet spot. And this week is going to be about you trying on this new way of thinking, finding that sweet spot. And when you find it, how you know is that you're able to really see the beauty and the minutia around you in the moments, the beauty in the small details. And that is going to tell you that your brain is being very present and not necessarily jumping into the future or digging into the past because you're able to be very present with the information in front of you. So, hmm, that sounds very interesting, Janelle. Next up, we have Julie. Swan, movement, Lady of the Lake. Okay, Julie. So when we have the movement card coupled with like the strong energies of Lady of the Lake and Swan, it seems like something big is happening this week for you. It feels very much like another like rung up on a journey that you're currently on, new like a new level achieved. And because sometimes the movement is like, oh, you're moving, like moving your home, you're changing jobs, you're like, something like that. But this one feels like a movement into like again a new way of being. Lady of the Lake is not sitting. And I want you to remember that. She isn't sitting this week. She's standing up and protecting her peace, protecting her space, protecting everything she's taken all this time to cultivate in an energy that is the way she wants it. So it always happens that as soon as you like level up into something, haters be hating and they come out of the woodwork to kind of bring you back down to kind of like level it up. Stand strong in your boundaries this week. You are moving into a space of really trusting your own gifts, trusting the process that you've created for yourself, and everything is working for you. Just remember to be really serious about those boundaries. All right. And then we have Yvonne. Wealth, Butterfly, and Merlin. All right, Yvonne, you have Wealth, Butterfly, and Merlin. So again, just like I was saying with Janelle, Merlin is that masculine magic energy of balance, of like this plus this equals that, like really like doing the magic and finding that sweet spot. And you will know that you have found that sweet spot again if you can be present enough and feel like you can really see the beauty in the small moments, in the minutia, like just able to be really present. In addition, for you, you have the wealth card, which is telling me that not only will being very present in the moment be something that's nice to do and feel good for you, it's actually going to be where you find your abundance. And I mean, you could say that for anybody, but specifically, this is a pull for this week. So the hack for you is to get into that space and find that sweet spot where you're noticing the beauty around you, because that's where you want to stay this week. Let the abundance find you. All right. Did you miss yours? I had to also walk away for a second because my children were fighting. But I just did them and I will end it and you'll be able to go back and look at it. I think you'll find it interesting. Um, I hope you have a great week, everybody. It's kind of a weird time here with like Coffee and Magic not being at the same time and like in between schedules and stuff. But I'm going to sign off and probably come back for regular Coffee and Magic stuff. Love you guys.